Hey, man. My name's Davey, and I was named after David Allison. I was born in 1993, and you can do the math between 93 and 01. I was 8 years old when 9/11 happened. I remember that day and seeing people having to choose between burning alive or jumping to their death. And I was 8 years old, and I will never forget that. Do you believe our own government have forgotten about 9/11? And where's the suitcases?
You say, has our own government forgotten about 9/11? Or did you ask me, was our own government involved in 9/11?
Amen.
I think there are people in our government that did not forget about 9/11. I think our military would have had some specialist smart enough to know that an aluminum plane cannot cut through a steel structure. And that jet fuel burns at 400 degrees Fahrenheit and steel melts at 1800 degrees Fahrenheit. Somebody in government had to be smart enough to know that. Somebody in government had to know that those buildings were wrapped in steel, not with internal steel braces, making them the strongest structure from a skyscraper standpoint in the world. Somebody in the military had to know that. Donald J. Trump knew it the very afternoon when they hit those buildings. I think what's going on in this country has more to do with 2020.
Yes.
I think it has something to do with avenging what was done to those people.
Yes.
On 9/11, 2001. It was 9/11 of 2016 when they tossed Hillary in the back of that black van. Oh, that was just a coincidence, man. There are no coincidences. So, look, there's so many things that this country has done. I was talking to a fine man night before last, John, his wife Gretchen, who's served, I believe it was in Kuwait. John, are you here? Give John a round of applause and thank him for his service. God bless you. And he made the comment to me about how do you deal with what happened to those of us and our colleagues who went and fought in these wars and we were lied to about it. But even though they were lied to about it, even though there were unjust wars fought for improper reasons, money, power, probably trafficking children, you always went, didn't you? Can you name me one time when the United States military did not uphold its oath to defend the Constitution and the people? And those men and women should never be forgotten. And we deserve the truth of what they did to them and why they did it. And we need to hold the people accountable that lied to the American public and allowed our men and women to be slaughtered in a war that we should have never been involved in. President Trump can't say all that. But I'm not running for president. So I have a little more freedom to speak the truth. But I bet he knows it. Did that answer the question about 9/11? That's a good one, wasn't it? About what? Yeah, I remember watching that when the night happened. I went, what happened there? I I was watching Imus in the morning. I was home with a bad back, and they switched from Imus in the morning to Katie Couric. You know, it was NBC that happened to be in the right place at the right time when the second tower was hit. And she was talking about Matt Lauer. Matt, there's a hole burning in Tower 1 or whatever it's called, North Tower, South Tower. And there's this gaping hole, fire coming out, and all of a sudden I was watching and there was a black silhouette of a plane. And I remember thinking, that's not a police helicopter. What is that? It's like a commercial airliner. And then it goes and the next building blew up. They had CGI back then. This footage that they obtained and finally got released where no plane hit that second building. We know no plane hit building 7. And I don't think a plane hit building first tower, whichever one got hit first. I just think it's all a lie. And it was a lie that set into motion a 20-year plan because they used 9/11 to steal your privacy. The Patriot Act. For the first time, they allowed Americans to be spied on by their own government. I also think it was an intro to get us into war in Afghanistan. So Poppy Bush could get the poppy. I'm gonna get in so much trouble. These are all just my constitutionally protected opinions. How many of you agree with me? America's getting smarter. I always had doubts about 9/11. I always had doubts about that phone call with Nixon on his phone. He says, I'm here in the Oval Room. I thought, where's the Oval Office? I'm on a landline in the Oval Room. And I was sitting there, young. I was thinking, wow, he's on a landline in the Oval Office. I knew what it's called. And he's talking to people on the moon. How in the world did he do that? How did he go from the moon into that hole that he's talking about? Oh, Lord, can you imagine the lies we've been told and that we got told? You tell me this is not a world where Satan is the God of this world, the deceiver of deceivers, the liar of liars. We have been lied to all of our lives. But boy, when you find out you've been lied to and you wake up to the lie, you're going to do something about it. This country, I do not believe, will go into a civil war. But I also think that if somebody doesn't do something about it, then a civil war will occur. But I think Trump made clear 2 years ago in a statement he released, he said there will be no civil war. And I believe Trump. He does not overpromise and underdeliver. He's not a Mike Lindell. Hello, Mike. Where are you? Lindell's a patriot. Man, he's the greatest ad purchaser in the history of the world. Where'd you get all that money, Mike? You're going to have to sit down and tell me that one day, Mike. You need to listen very carefully to Donald Trump.
I'm Diane.